Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very well. Good to see you all in the building. Welcome back to another late night stream. I know the thumbnail has got nothing relevant, but unfortunately, the thumbnail I want, I can't get it right now. So I have the old thumbnail that I didn't actually use. So, we try our best. We'll make it work. Big up to everyone that's watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to support the channel in another way, you can by becoming a member of Chelsea Fan TV. You can become a member of the channel. Big up to you, Jordan. Hope you're doing well, mate. And yes, we do have some brand new news coming out regarding the club in a transfer sense. We got news regarding Anthony Gordon, and Kunku as well. Some news regarding Strasbourg, quite a few updates there. And Joao Pedro apparently wants to join Chelsea as well. So a number of different things to go through regarding the club at the moment. It's starting to heat up, isn't it? We've seen over the past couple of days. This is where the journalists are starting to really come out with some stories. And it's up to you to decide whether you agree with them or not. Okay. So let me just say this. When I talk about these things, when we reference different articles and sources, that's just me reading what's already out there. So don't sit there and say, I'm the one reporting this. This is stuff that's already out there. I'm just saying it so that you actually know what is out there. And then you can make up your own opinion. I'm sure you're all very intelligent. Got a nice cup of tea. Keep me awake. Still a bit too hot, to be honest. And yeah, big up to everyone that's watching. I'll just quickly go through the chat and then I will get started. Big up to you, Cam. Hope you're doing well, buddy. Tom says, yes, back with another stream. Osman let the keeper take the penalty yesterday. I didn't watch the game. That's very strange. Why would he let the keeper take the penalty? It's very weird. Is the goalkeeper a penalty taker? I mean, how does that work? We were linked with Gordon before he joined Newcastle. That is absolutely true. And actually, looking at the fee that Newcastle paid, it probably would have been a good fee for us. But we were never to know, were we? Kem says, blessings, my G. Even though we never seem to agree on anything, all love. Good to see you in it, mate. Listen, you can agree, you can disagree. My thing is very simple, that I don't mind having a debate. I really don't mind it. And I don't mind disagreeing with someone. I just want to understand why you think the way that you think. Not just specifically you, Kems, but just anyone. And ultimately, you agree to disagree or you find some middle ground. And there will be things we agree on at some point. I'm absolutely sure there'll be things we agree on. Good to see you on the stream, though. Anyway, big up to Yusuf. I hope you're doing well. What do I think of the Anthony Gordon news? I would take him over Garnacho in a heartbeat. Well, I'll tell you this for certain. I would definitely take Anthony Gordon over Garnacho. That's not a debate that I need to think about. Shano, good to see you. He says, of course, we're getting Gordon. Get out of here. All PR nonsense from the club on experienced players, all PR nonsense. Well, listen, it's for you to decide ultimately. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just giving you what's already out there. So of course I will put my opinion. I'll give you a little bit of opinion. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion. But yeah, take it as it comes. Take it as it comes. So where do we start? Which player do we start? Because we have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of money being talked about. A lot of money in this window. Jeez, man. Yeah, let's start off with the obvious player, shall we? Let's start off with the obvious one. Anthony Gordon. Arsenal and Chelsea are two of the clubs understood to be interested in Anthony Gordon. It is thought there is a price tag of around £80 million on him. So 80 million quid is the amount that you need to pay in order to get your hands, or even potentially get your hands on Anthony Gordon. Now, first of all, can we just agree that is an extortionate amount of money? That's a lot. So that's the first thing. The second thing is he actually worth that money? Okay. And I think this is a debate that people can have. But ultimately, I think we can agree the answer is no. He's not worth 80 million. He's not worth 70 million. It's probably not even worth 60. For me, this is a 50 million pound player at best, and that is still being relatively generous. Now, we are going to look into Anthony Gordon and some of his stats. I think stats are certainly important. They're not everything, but they are something. I think if you don't take stats seriously, then fair play to you. You can always watch football with your eyes, but if you see someone's GA, for example, I mean that is an indicator, isn't it, of how they can perform, especially if they're an attacking player. But anyway, let's dive into it. This particular article was written by Mark Douglas. It was the I paper, and he is the Northern Football correspondent. The title is Anthony Gordon is not playing like the 80 million pound player he thinks he is. The England forward owes Newcastle a performance as exit rumours emerge. This was written earlier on today. So this is a very new article. It says, for a player who believes he is a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 on his good days, a string of 5s, 6 and 7s this season is a disappointing return for the England forward. Handed a first start since February at Arsenal, his performance was anemic enough to demand a proper reaction in their final game against Everton. That the opponents are his former clubs, where there is genuine antipathy towards him. What that means, guys, is basically they hate him. let's just say that. It only adds to the intrigue surrounding a fascinating final weekend. Gordon, who missed a penalty at Goodison Park earlier this season, desperately needs to transfer his main character energy. I was actually watching that game when Newcastle played Everton. That was a good one. In fairness, Gordon was by no means the only attacking player who misfired at the Emirates, as Newcastle stumbled with the Champions League in sight. But it was his mistake in the first half that presented the ball to Bukayo Saka in the run-up to Arsenal's winning goal. Given how much emphasis Eddie Howe puts on Newcastle being disciplined with the ball, it is a desperate misstep to make. It has left nerds on Tyneside, the outsiders, look like the firm favourites to clinch the top 5 spot and have won 6 league games in a row at St James's Park. But Howe is wringing every drop out of the squad that has been dented significantly by injuries of late. Joe Linton and Kieran Trippier both been very good, but they're also injured. Isak was also absent on Sunday. Where's the transfer news, people? What is this? I'm trying to... Where's the transfer news in this article? Anyway, I'll keep going. There's got to be something here because it's been referenced. Anyway, it says... There is no natural replacement for him in the Newcastle squad, with Callum Wilson looking increasingly like his race is run as a top-flight player. William Osler remains too raw to try out, so it might be Gordon who plays through the middle if Isak is unavailable. That does not quite inspire confidence as it once did. It is difficult to know exactly what's gone on with Gordon this season. A slow start. Sources cite fitness issues stemming from being underutilized by England at the Euro 2024, seemed to be behind him as he starred during Newcastle's midwinter run of form. But a foolish red card and an FA Cup defeat to Brighton brought his season grinding to a halt and meant he missed their historic Carabao Cup triumph. Has he really recovered from that? Still no transfer news. In recruitment circles, whispers around his future continue to circulate, even if the official response is that Newcastle don't want to sell and the player doesn't want to leave. Last summer, this is where it's getting better, people. There was interest from Liverpool, his boyhood club, which unsettled Gordon, despite his protestations to the contrary. Perhaps the fact that Newcastle were prepared out of desperation at their own profitability and sustainability rules, PSR, and that situation, they did listen to the offer, and it could have potentially turned his head. That is behind them, and Newcastle have no pressing financial fair play issues in this close season. But the feeling is that the club still need to play a trade to stay ahead of the curve. Gordon signed a long-term contract that runs until 2030, but of Newcastle's crown jewels, he is perhaps the one that makes the most sense to trade if a suitable offer is tabled. Arsenal and Chelsea are two of the clubs understood to be interested. It is thought there is a price tag of around £80 million on him. Before any transfer talk, there is more pressing business to take care of. Newcastle definitely need 3 points. Gordon needs to do his bit. Do you know, like those videos when you want to learn how to, I don't know if anyone has an Xbox or a PlayStation and your controller doesn't connect. So you look up, how do I connect my controller? Right? You look it up and you see a 10-minute video and you say, okay, all right, I'll click on that. And you watch for 9 minutes and they talk about everything except what you actually need to know. And then you think, God, I might as well click off this video. But you persevere. And you say, you know what? I'm going to watch this video till the end. It must have some information. And after 9 minutes and 20 seconds, the last 40 seconds of the video, they actually tell you how to do what it is that you wanted in the first place. They could have easily put it at the beginning, but they chose to put it at the end so that you would watch for a whole 10 minutes. And that is how I feel after reading that article. Everything had no relevance whatsoever to any sort of transfer news until right at the end. But we got it in the end, guys. We did get it in the end. So what do we know? We know that last year Newcastle had a bit of a situation with regards to their financial situation, PSR, and they did listen to offers. They didn't accept them, but they listened to them. They don't have any pressing financial fair play issues in this this close season. That's what they've said. But the feeling is that the club still need a player trade to stay ahead of the curve. So even though they don't need to sell right now, they're thinking we are going to have an issue in a year or two if we don't sell. So they just want to get ahead of the curve in that sense, which I can appreciate, especially if they miss out on European football in one season. If they've got a nice profit on their books, that certainly helps, and you can get a good fee for Anthony Gordon. No doubt they can make a profit. £80 million though, whew, it's a lot. So he signed a new long-term contract that runs until 2030. So there's no player power in terms of running his contract down. He's got another 5 years. It's all within Newcastle's control. And he's down as one of their quote-unquote crown jewels. He is perhaps, and this is according to the article again, the one that makes the most sense to trade if a suitable offer is tabled. Arsenal and Chelsea are two of the clubs understood to be interested. It is thought there is a price tag of around 80 million on him. First thing I'm going to ask in the chat is, do you think he's worth 80 million quid? Second question I'm going to ask is, do you think he's worth 70 million quid? And then I'll finish off with saying, would you pay 60? So you can just put no, no, yes, or yes, 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 or no, no, no. You let me know. Do you genuinely believe that this is a player that's worth paying for? And if so, how much would you pay? Me personally, I'm trying to think how much Newcastle paid for him. About 40 odd mil, 45 mil. They paid a decent amount for him. If we're being totally honest, they probably paid an overinflated amount for Anthony Gordon. He wasn't really worth 45 million when they signed him. It's probably worth about 30. He didn't have much GA. Yes, he's an energetic player with a bit of versatility. He can play in the midfield. He can play on the wing. A nice player to watch, pretty skillful. He's got a good attitude, a lot of confidence. Since when did confidence add that much value? I mean, based on what they were saying at the beginning of the article as well, this is not even a player that is, he believes he's a 9 out of 10 or even a 10 on his good days. I mean, do we agree with that? I haven't watched enough Newcastle to really comment on this consistently, but for me, this is a player that you probably pay 50 mil, 60 max. Let me get to this super chat. Sorry, guys. Mudryk news anytime soon? No, there's no updates as far as Mudryk at the moment. No updates there. But thanks for the super chat. Mulfligarian. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Mulfligarian 17. Thanks for the super chat, dude. Alex El Cherbani says Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea prediction. I will. Well, if you're asking me on the spot, I'd probably say, if I had to give you a number, I'd probably say 2-2. If I had to. My head says 2-2. My heart says 2-1 Chelsea. So, it could go either way, really. But yeah, big up to you. Thanks for the super chat as well, mate. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Let's have a look. Let's see what we're saying as well, guys. Not even 60, 65 max. Absolutely not 80. 40 to 45 tops. 55, 60. No to everything. Am I going to Warclaw? Yes, I am going. I am. 22? What, as in 22 mil? 50. Waste of money. I think the overriding feeling is that we're not very keen on this one. Not very keen on this particular player. He's a good player. I like Anthony Gordon. I think he's a good player. I think he's a respectable player. If you play against Anthony Gordon, I don't think that you feel like you're playing against, I don't feel like I'm playing against a bum. It's not Garnacho. But I don't feel like I'm playing against a world beater either. Like, this is a good player, but he's not a top player. But one thing that he is that we haven't been looking at is he's a relatively established player. His weekly salary at Newcastle was approximately 150k a week. Does that fit into our structure? In my opinion, no. And I'll tell you why. You look at 150 grand. Cole Palmer's on 130k, and you would bring in Anthony Gordon and spend an extra 20 grand. I just, yeah. I mean, I guess it's like anything. If the price is right, the price is right. But this is an article for me that I don't know. To be honest with you, I don't really know Mark Douglas. I don't know much about the iPaper. I mean, this is the article, guys. I'll share it with you here. I don't really know. Does anyone know Mark Douglas? I ain't got a clue. I have not got a clue. He is the Northern football correspondent for the iPaper. So it's very hard to tell you if this is an accurate source or not. It's very hard for me to say that. I really don't know. If anyone knows anything about this guy, then that's fine. But I haven't heard of him. I mean, what's his Twitter page saying? It's got 75,000 followers. Hard to tell. Who knows? But my opinion on this is I'm not going to sit here and say fake news because I think there probably is interest. But, you know, we're interested in everyone. Doesn't mean we're going to get them. That's the reality of it, you know. You're in a club, you're looking around, you're probably interested in a lot of the girls. You can only go home with one unless you got some seriously good game. That's the reality, though, isn't it? When you look at these transfer windows, how many links are there? You link with this player, you link with that player, a young player, an experienced player, centre back, striker, midfielders. Like, we link with everyone. And it doesn't end up being that we sign everyone. It was when Bowley and Clearlake first came in. I mean, don't get me wrong, but they were also selling everyone. So I think that, yeah, we need to just relax and appreciate that. Me personally, I'm going to say this is a thumb down. He's not worth 80 mil. He's not worth 70 mil. Probably not even worth 60. And I would honestly question the reasoning for this signing if we paid 50. So as far as I'm concerned, he can stay at Newcastle and got a problem with it. We're not going to pay his wages. We're not going to pay the fee. We don't need the player. We don't particularly want the player. If you disagree with me, fair enough. But I think looking at this, we can all be in agreement at that. Look, this is a player who's obviously picked up a trophy at Newcastle, although he wasn't really involved. So it's hard to say, you know, Anthony Gordon led them to the title. This is his stats in the Premier League as it stands. 33 appearances, 6 goals, 6 assists, 12 GA in 33, roughly a goal every 3 games, or assist every 3 games. No red cards, 2 yellows. He's involved in the starting 11 about 75% of the time-ish, playing the majority of minutes as well. His goal participation is about 18% of the teams. And then in the FA Cup, he did get a goal in the 2 games he was involved in. And in the Carabao, he got 3 GA in 6. So, look, I'm not going to sit here and shit on the guy. I think that, to be quite frank, I think Anthony Gordon is, I think he's all right. But I don't think he is the world beater. I don't think he's the player that Chelsea need to take us to the next level. I don't think that's what it is. Ultimately, he's a good player. He's still young. He's 24. But his value is at the stage now where if Chelsea signed him, knowing what we like to do, I think that it just doesn't make sense from a Clearlake perspective either. They're looking at these players and they're saying, can we sign this player to flip the player? That's a big part of the model, right? If it doesn't work, can we get rid of them? How easy is it to get rid of them? How much would you pay though, Martin? How much would you pay? Decent player, hard worker, 30 mil at best, probably 35, mate. You know, you could go up to 40. I'd be willing to pay 40 mil. I wouldn't have a problem with it. I really wouldn't. But yeah, this is a guy that ultimately, if you signed him for 80 million, you would never be able to resell him for anything like that. It's just not a profitable transaction. We are owned by private equity, and you're telling me that they don't care about this. This is clearly a priority. Alex says, what about Cunha? Well, I mean, what about him? I mean, he's going to United, mate. That's the reality. He's going to United. So what Anthony Gordon can bring is all right, but it's not going to make or break Chelsea's season. I think that's the reality that we need to appreciate. He's a good player. He's not a bad player. He's certainly not a great player. And yeah, that's my stance on that. We're going to move on to another player that's being linked with Chelsea. Another player who apparently is pretty keen to come to Chelsea. This is the formerly United scout Mick Brown saying, Joao Pedro is one I know Chelsea have looked at, but there are doubts about his goal-scoring record. There's certainly a player that at his best, he can be excellent, but at his worst, he won't be. Personally, I have doubts about whether he would be an improvement for a team like Chelsea, and I know these doubts are shared. So, I don't know why. To be honest with you, we're being linked with this guy. I don't really understand that. I don't get why are we being linked with him? What is he going to bring to this team that we don't have already? I don't. Anyway, yeah, so this is another Football Insider article by Mick Brown. Take it with a pinch of salt if you want to. It's up to you, ultimately. But I'll go through it anyway. I have done one or two things with Football Insider. I did a podcast. One of the guys who works them is the former England goalkeeper. What's his name? Robinson. He used to play for Blackburn and Tottenham. I think he played for Tottenham as well. Is his name? Robinson? I think it was. Anyway, let's go through this article. So apparently, according to Football Insider, Joao Pedro tells a friend that he wants to join Chelsea after speaking to people. Let me just zoom in on this quote for you guys, just so you understand what I'm looking at here. That's what it says. That is the title of this article. It says Joao Pedro tells friend he wants to join Chelsea after speaking to people. That is journalist at its finest. Mick Brown, I love it. No messing around. Get in there, son. Let's see what Mick Brown has written about Brighton star Joao Pedro. He says that he has confessed his desire to join Chelsea this summer after the Blues joined the race for his signature. That is according to former Man United chief scout Mick Brown, who remains very well connected within the game, as he exclusively told Football Insider that the 23-year-old wants to make the step up to a bigger team this summer. However, Chelsea have doubts about his ability to provide a consistent source of goals and whether he is the right man to lead the line for them. Brighton are also expected to demand a significant fee to sell the Brazilian, which has raised further concerns among interested clubs. Football Insider revealed on the 18th of May that Chelsea, Liverpool, and Arsenal want to sign Pedro, as the Seagulls will demand around 70 million for his signature. This comes after the former United scout Brown told Football Insider that Pedro is interested in joining Liverpool, as speculation surrounding a move away from Brighton continues to grow. Oh, gosh. I mean, come on, guys. 80 mil for Gordon. 70 mil for Joao Pedro. Tell him if he brings for your eyes only with him all. That's funny. There you go. If you know, you know. I know Father knows, that's for sure. Ask Father about your my eyes only, or wherever it is. God damn it. 70 million. It's not even serious, these numbers. They're not serious. 70 mil. God. I mean, 17. I consider that. 17. 70. What am I getting for that? Can I get a piece of Brighton? Can I get a piece of land in Brighton for that as well? I want the nicest house in Brighton plus Joao Pedro plus something else. 70 million. There's way better things you could spend that money on. If he's worth 70 mil, what's Wacko Jacko worth? It's a great question. It's a great question. I'll leave that to you in the chat. What if he's worth 70 mil, what is Nicholas Jackson worth? That's a fair shout. That's a very good shout. Let me know. Let me know, guys. Honestly. Let me know. Honestly, that's caught me off guard a bit. I didn't expect it to be like, why do they blatantly say it like that? As if it's supposed to be like that. That's actually what he's worth. Anyway, let's continue. So the article then goes on to say Chelsea set sights on Joao Pedro after Brighton latest. Chelsea have been linked with a number of potential new strikers in recent weeks, with Liam Delap and Emmanuel Emega also on their radar. Who the fuck is Emmanuel Egmeg? Okay, he's the striker for Strasbourg. All right. Okay, makes sense. That's fair enough. We basically already own him, so that would be easy. Anyway, Brown, again, this former United scout, this is who they seem to be referencing a lot, who has a wealth of experience in top-level player recruitment after over a decade at Man United during their most successful period, explained that Joao Pedro has emerged as another name on their list despite their initial concerns. And this is the quote that he apparently told Football Insider. It says, Chelsea, fucking hell. Why did they hype it up so much? It says Chelsea have been looking at signing a new striker. How did you know? My goodness. Who's your source? How can you figure this stuff out? This is inside information I thought I'd never get. My God. What a quote. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I'll continue. He also went on to say, this former Manchester United scout, who apparently has great links at Chelsea and knows what they're trying to sign. He knows we want a striker, that's for sure. He also said they're not completely satisfied with the strikers they've got at the moment, and they want someone who can provide a regular source of goals. That is what strikers do. They score goals. They do. Joao Pedro is one I know they've looked at, but there are doubts about his goal-scoring record. There's certainly a player that, and at his best, he can be excellent, but at his worst, he won't be. Personally, I have doubts about whether he would be an improvement for a team like Chelsea, and I know those doubts are shared. I hear he's spoken to people around him about a move, and he would be interested in Chelsea. He wants to make a step up from Brighton as they're going to miss out on European football again. It's just a case of whether they decide he's the right man for the job. The article also goes on to talk about Ezri Konsa, who's the centre-back at Aston Villa, and then also says that Chelsea have set their sights on Ezri Konsa. Isn't one player enough for this article? I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, if I'm totally honest with you, I don't think that. I mean, if you thought the Gordon link was bad, I think this is even worse. Just based on the financials of it. I mean, the wages are better. I think someone said he's on about 50k a week or something like that. Is that what yeah, £50,000 a week. That's what his estimated salary is. So he's not on big money. He's on more money than Delap. He's on 45. He's on more money than Jonathan David, who's on about 39,000. But the transfer fee is just ridiculous. We can talk about the transactions that Chelsea have made from Brighton, and we signed Caicedo for over 100 million. We paid 50, 60 million for Cucurella. And that was good business, to be quite frank. Honestly, bite your hand off. Do it again. These are top players. These are players that you can see every club wants them. Why is Man City not being linked with Joao Pedro? Why are Liverpool not linked with Joao Pedro? Why is there no serious interest from their side? The fact that Chelsea's name is the name that's been put forward just goes to show where we are at the moment and what these journalists... Well, I don't know if this is just journalism or what the club's feeding them information. I don't know where the fuck this is coming from, but for me, this is just a bit of an embarrassing link. Like, I look at a player like Liam Delap, and I honestly don't believe he's a bad signing. I think that you need more. I think that Liam Delap and another striker like Jonathan David, let's just imagine we sign those two players. I think that would be hugely beneficial. But I look at Joao Pedro, and I just think, what are you bringing that we don't already have? What are you? You are literally a Conference League level player. I totally agree. Nah, fuck off, Marlon. 20 goals for Brighton, 19 was penalties. How many goals has he scored? How many goals has he scored? I mean, Arsenal have also been linked with him, so that sounds pretty standard. 16 G8 in 27. I don't think he's a bad player. I'm not saying that, but I'm just not really seeing the vision with this one, guys. I'm not really seeing the vision here. He's still a young player. He's still got plenty of, he can still develop a lot, but this is a guy that I don't know. He's okay. He's all right. He's okay. Is he going to transform Chelsea into a title-winning side? No. Is he going to help us solidify ourselves as a Champions League team? Probably not. He is like below that. He is genuinely a Conference League level player. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying that Jackson's the best player in the world, but I will say I like Jackson. I do like him. But if we're having the debate of Joao Pedro and Nicholas Jackson, I'm sorry, but I feel like it's a pointless debate. And I think that if you're at least going to have two different players like that, and can we at least make sure that they're very different profiles? Like, I don't see a huge difference. Whereas Liam Delap, for me, brings something totally different. Victor Osimhen, totally different. Yeah. Owners look at how much money he will bring. What, for 70 mil? Come on, mate. 70 mil. You're not going to bring in any money for that. So, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about this particular link with Joao Pedro, again, another thumbs down from me. Not impressed with that link at all. Don't understand why we're being linked with him, to be quite frank. I think it's pretty embarrassing, to be honest with you. I think it's pretty embarrassing. Now, we've got an update on Liam Delap, who we know we've been heavily linked with. Liam Delap remains Manchester United's top choice. However, he is waiting to see how the Europa League final and the race for Champions League spots unfolds. Chelsea also appreciate Delap as one of several options. This is an article by Ben Jacobs on Give Me Sport. Now, it talks about Mateus Cunha as well. We know that he's going to be joining Man United. That seems to be a done deal. And fair play. I think that's actually a great signing for them. Good business. Liam Delap is Manchester United's top striker choice. He is their number one choice. Can I just say as well, when I look at Liam Delap, and I'm being deadly serious, I think he suits Ruben Amorim's style down to the ground. And I think that if I'm looking at this project from a footballing standpoint, and let's just look at it from the sense of how much he's being valued, is he Chelsea's number one priority, or is he Man United's number one priority? I think that he would be valued more at Man United. I think that he would be utilized more at Man United. I think they'd pay him more. And I think that in terms of the style, I think he probably suits them more. But then from a Chelsea perspective, I would like that player. I would personally like it. But as I've said, I don't just want Liam Delap. I want more than that. But I do want him. I do want him. I think it's good business. I really do. I think it's good business. I think it's great squad depth. And I think it's a different profile. That's the most important thing. When I see Joao Pedro being linked with us, I'm like, fuck you now. What is he offering? Anyway, let's go through this article as well, just to see what happens. Obviously, they're saying he's waiting to see how the season ends for everyone. And the article goes on to say, Man United want 2 quick signings within the first weeks of the window, with a number 9 the other priority area to strengthen. Liam Delap remains the top choice and has an active 30 million clause now that Ipswich are down. United executives have already held face-to-face talks with the 22-year-old, in which he's been told he can expect significant minutes should he choose to join. However, Delap is waiting to see how the Europa League final and race for Champions League spots unfolds. Chelsea also appreciate Delap as one of several options as the Blues look for a new number 9, potentially in time for the Club World Cup. Delap has gone quite as far as to tell clubs a lack of European football is a deal breaker. Oh, sorry. Delap has not gone quite as far as to tell clubs the lack of European football is a deal breaker, but it is believed to be an important factor. This is because he wants to play in Europe in 2025-26 to boost his 2026 World Cup chances. A return to the Northwest is also of appeal to Delap, who started his career at Manchester City. Delap is expected to make a fast decision on his future once the season ends, before heading off to the Under-21 European Championship with England. Now, this is something that's interesting as well. People don't necessarily realize Liam Delap is actually not keen on staying south. He wants to move up north for personal reasons. So I think that's also a factor that could impact this deal. And yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if United beat Chelsea to this player, even without Champions League football, for that reason, because sometimes it does go past football. You just want to live in a different part of the country. I can appreciate that. But yeah, if I'm honest, looking at this player, looking at the way this situation is happening, I would probably bet money on Delap going to United. I think that will happen. Even if they don't get Champions League, I think it will still happen. Man United also appreciate Victor Gyökeres, who played under Ruben Amorim at Sporting and faced strong competition from Arsenal. Gyökeres, who has an incredible 53 goals in 51 appearances this season, is available this summer for about 70 million, a full 30 million below his release clause. Leipzig's Benjamin Sesko, who United tried for last summer, remains on the club's radar as well, but a move for Napoli's Victor Osimhen is not expected. So that's from a Man United perspective, but always interesting to hear, because we are actually directly competing with them for a certain number of players. Moving on from that particular situation, Christopher Nkunku, a little update on him. It says FC Bayern are still monitoring Nkunku's situation and remain in contact with his management. However, nothing is advanced at this stage. Other top clubs are also interested in Nkunku. This is according to Plettigol. I don't necessarily know if Nkunku is the right fit for Bayern. I don't know. But what we do know is he's performed very well in Germany. And any German club that's being linked with him, you know that he can perform in your league without question. What I will say is that they've got to obviously cough up the money, but Chelsea are going to be willing to negotiate because we want to get his wages off the books. And on top of that, we obviously want to get a decent fee for the player. So, yeah, doesn't surprise me there that Bayern are linked with Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea under-21 midfielder Leo Castelladine is expected to leave the club on a permanent transfer this summer. This is according to Simon Jordan Sport. This is on The Athletic, so if you want to check this out, you can. He was on loan at League One side Shrewsbury Town this season before he had a back injury that ended his campaign prematurely in February, and he is ready to join a new side on a permanent basis in a bid to get regular first-team football. He still has one year left on his current deal with the option for another 12 months, but obviously we have so many midfielders to choose from, so he's decided that he's better off going somewhere for the sake of his career. He already has a number of clubs in the Championship, and League One clubs are showing interest as well. A loan has not been completely ruled out, but it is regarded as unlikely because Castelladine is wary of it becoming a regular occurrence. Chelsea would want the player to sign a new contract before sending him away for another campaign. Yeah, so that is a little update on that particular player. Big up to Leo Castelladine, and I wish him all the best. We know this United are not making a move for Victor Osimhen. Can you believe about Florian Wirtz as well? Bayern Leverkusen value him at 126.3 million. And Man City calculated that I think the cost of that deal, if you put everything into it in terms of agent fees, wages, add-ons, bonuses, and obviously the transfer fee as well, that's a deal that's close to £300 million. Now, I'll be honest with you, I don't think Florian Wirtz is worth 126 mil. I will be totally honest with you. But I also think one of the reasons they put him at such a high price is because Bayern Leverkusen just want to keep the guy. They don't want to sell him. So that's why they're pricing people out. Yeah. Couple of interesting predictions as well before the Nottingham Forest game. Gary Neville had this to say. He said, Nottingham Forest will give Chelsea a tough day, 100%. I'm not sure Chelsea can go there and win. I'll be really honest with you. I think if Villa win, they'll get the Champions League because Forest will take points off Chelsea. Jamie Carragher also had this to say. He said, I think Chelsea and Nottingham Forest might both miss out. I can see that being a draw at the weekend. I'm not sure Chelsea have got the character and personality to go there and win. So both of them are doubtful of what they're seeing at the moment. Both of them. Fair enough. Interesting as well, something going around John Obi Mikel. People are saying he got cooked because, well, I don't actually know. I haven't watched the clip. So we're going to watch it together. He says she cooked his ass, throwing around Arsenal's 700 million without context, but when Chelsea's 1.5 billion is mentioned, suddenly he's interested in context. Okay. Let's see what he said.
In the summer, he's actually spent 700
700
million.
million to 800 million he spent.
Is that a lot over 6
That's
years?
a lot of money over 6
He
years.
spent $1 billion in one season.
Listen,
Break it down. That's 34 players, 28 purchases, the rest on loan,
yes,
over 6 seasons.
Yes.
It's actually not that much when you break it down like that.
I know that when you talk about us spending $1 billion, yes, we're in a transition period. We have managers come in, managers go. They're bringing in their players. In the summer,
Why didn't they let him finish his? Why didn't they let him finish his point? I wanted to hear what he had to say about that. But yeah, context is important in that. I mean, for God's sake, are people that silly? Yeah, I don't really know what to say because obviously I didn't see the whole thing. But this is what this guy Vince had to say. He said, Mikel Obi is right, though the difference between Chelsea and Arsenal is that Chelsea sold 90% of the squad, including big players, for big fees and reinvested. Arsenal didn't. They can't remember anyone they sold for up to 20 million. I can't remember anyone they sold for up to 20 million. The Aubameyangs and Lacazette went for next to nothing. We had a full evolution while Arteta kept adding to his squad. I'll probably agree with that, to be fair. I mean, Arsenal seem like a pretty poor club when it comes to selling. I'll tell you that. Very poor in terms of selling. Alex Iwobi asked to name the most impactful manager in his career. He said Frank Lampard, hands down. Lampard revived my career. Big up to Frank Lampard. And that was via Culture Cams. Mark Guiu as well, trained with the Chelsea team again today and is pushing to be included as a striker option in the squad for Sunday's trip to Nottingham Forest. There is a debate for Mark Guiu to potentially start the game. I can appreciate that debate. But at the same time, not really had many minutes. So it's hard for me to say, oh, I really want this to happen. Yeah, I'm not sure, to be quite honest. I think I'd probably choose Pedro Neto, if I'm honest. I think that's probably what I'd go for. But each of their own. In terms of Strasbourg, got a little bit of news there. Aston Villa are on the huge offensive for Strasbourg's Habib Diarra. This is according to Mohamed Paris, a French journalist. This is the post in French. Énorme offensive d'Aston Villa pour Habib Diarra. Do you like my French accent there? There you go. The translation is Aston Villa want Diarra. Basically, that's it. I don't know enough about the player to really comment. If anyone watches Strasbourg, please let me know. But it's difficult for me to to really give you the information about that player. But what I can give you to do with this season is a little reflection in terms of the development of certain players at Strasbourg over the course of the 24-25 season, this season. When you look at the Ligue 1 team of the season, the only team in the same caliber in terms of players this season that match what Strasbourg's doing is none other than PSG. And I think that's a credit to Petrovic. That's a credit to Santos. Also, a lot of credit to Diego Moreira for making it in there as well. He's playing as a left back by the looks of it. So that's very interesting, isn't it? And then obviously from a PSG perspective, they've got Hakimi, who I think is great, Dembele and Barcola. You've got Mason Greenwood, who's done very well at Marseille, and Ryan Cherky as well. AJ Oxlade, I don't really know that team, to be fair, but they got two players in there, and then Monaco have a player as well. Ryan Cherky, guys, there's a very low transfer fee for this guy. I mean, I'm hearing it's about 20 million or something like that. It's a very, very cheap deal. Yeah, I think that is a deal that can absolutely help us. I don't think it should be a deal that we prioritize, but I do think that, listen, if you've got 200 million to spend, just get it done. Get it done early. This is a player who's clearly of a decent level. He's still young, relatively experienced, playing in France for a couple of years. Very naturally talented, probably more talented than any of the other wingers that we have in our team at the moment. I don't think we'd be having the conversation that we're having about Ryan Cherky if that wasn't the case. So in terms of wages, this is what we're looking at according to what Jordan said. He's on about 75, 76K. This is euros, though, per week. I don't know what that is in pounds. I'm going to say 65,000 roughly. Careful switching around those tabs so quick on your computer. Expecting to see a pair of tits any minute. Got to be careful, man. Got to be careful. You never know. It's a good thing you're not streaming on your computer, Cam. That's what I will say. It's a very good thing you're not streaming. Because that would be... I think we just get banned, to be quite frank. Get banned from YouTube, mate. Am I going to the Club World Cup? Yes, I am going to the Club World Cup. I'm also going to Poland. I will be there. I'm looking forward to being there. That'll be good fun. Yeah, I agree with you, T-Crum. I take Cherky over Noni and Sancho as well. I don't think that's really much of a debate. These guys, I'm not sitting here saying Noni and Sancho are rubbish, but I do think they are. We need more. We need more to get us to the promised land, the level that we expect to. I mean, if there's one thing I give Noni, he has improved this season, and I've seen it, and I definitely give him that. But he's still not being consistent enough. He's got to be more consistent. Too many games we look at Noni and we go, what the hell is this guy doing? And that is where you see his youth, his lack of maturity as a football player. If I can rely on you as a winger, if I can count on you, we're not going to doubt you, no problem. We don't feel that way about Noni Madueke. You know, if I don't know what Willian's GA was at Chelsea in terms of his best one, but he wasn't actually much of a GA merchant. The guy, but the guy was reliable. I could count on Willian the majority of games. You know, he would help out, he would track back, he would battle, and he would help his teammates. And that's why Willian played every week. Can we say the same about Noni Madueke? Can we say the same about Jadon Sancho? That's an open-ended question for you. And no, Strasbourg did not qualify for the Champions League. They bottled it right at the end, which is a real shame. But yeah, that's how it is, unfortunately. There's another player that we're being linked with as well. I just get him up from Feyenoord. We spoke about this earlier on in the day. I did a stream at lunch. It says, this is according to Voltball Premier, which I presume is a Dutch source. It says Chelsea continue to be linked with Feyenoord left back Quinsley Hartman, who they nearly signed last summer. The player was visibly sad after the end of the last match. Managing director Dennis de Clos said, if there's interest, we will look at it. If Chelsea reported to the player, they didn't report to us yet. Last year, of course, that story came up. In the end, that changed with the injury. So another player that we're being linked with as well. That plenty of links, guys. I don't have a clue about this guy. I don't know who he is. I don't know anything about him. So it's very, very difficult for me to give you an analysis. If anyone knows anything about this guy, please share with the chat. Honestly, please share. Also, if you haven't already, smash the like button. We've got over 127 of you in the building as it stands, and we've only got 55 likes on the video. Guys, this is my second stream of the day. Let's get up to 100. Smash the like button, push a thumbs up. I can barely get my words out now. I'm happy to do it, though. I do enjoy streaming. So even if you don't smash the like button, I'll still do it. But I do appreciate the support. It does help, and it just shows me that you want to, you want me to continue doing it, which I'm happy to do anyway. of course. And there you go, Jordan. Well, if that is the case, there's no wonder we're being linked with this guy. He's on less than 15 grand a month. So there you go. I do believe that Palmer probably should have been on the right wing, though. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Rafael Leao, no real. There's nothing genuine about those links. He wouldn't suit what we're doing. I don't think he's the right player for us, to be quite frank. There are other options that I would personally prefer, but there you go, each to their own. I wouldn't have a problem with it, but I just don't think he's the right player for us. Listen, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm going to do another stream tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you want to join me, please do. I stream most days at 1 o'clock and 10 p.m. UK time as well. So feel free to join me. Before we round it out, smash that like button as well. Appreciate everyone watching as well. I hope you have a great evening, and I look forward to catching up with you all very, very soon. Enjoy your evening, guys, and I will see you on Tuesday. All the best, guys.